In summary, sir, this motion states that on August 11th, 2025, in this court, you were sentenced to 10 years in prison, and that was probated for 10 years for the third degree felony of fraudulent use or possession of identifying information or items. Do you understand what you're charged with?
Yes.
There were more than 5, less than 10. That's a third degree felony, which carries with it up to 10 years in prison. Number 1, violation states you failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office on or about August 12th. That would have been the next day after you were placed on probation, and for the months of August and September 2025. Is that true or untrue?
Yes, sir.
When were you arrested? I guess. In 21. Yeah, when you didn't show up for September, then motion to revoke probation was filed in October.
PRP in December.
In December?
Yes.
And he was in custody whenever he took this deal, and then he didn't show up after that, John.
You're right. Hold on. I've lost the thought on that. So, did you ever report?
Yes, sir. Yes. I got you. Yes, sir. Got out. I was down and out. And haven't lost my job while I was incarcerated. Just made a mistake. I just want to fix it.
And just up to my understanding. So, and he's going to accept responsibility for everything.
Allegation 1, then, failing to report August 12th, 2025, and August and September of 2025 was a violation of condition 4 of your probation order, requiring you to report regularly. Is that allegation true or untrue?
Here.
And then number 2, you failed to provide verification of performing community service hours as required. I presume you didn't serve any of that, correct? Is that true?
Yes.
Are you pleading true to allegations 1 and 2 voluntarily, and because those allegations are indeed true as they are alleged?
Yes, sir.
You understand that a voluntary and knowingly made plea of true to 1 or more violations of probation, that is enough to grant a motion to revoke probation. Your probation can be revoked. You can be sentenced to no less than 2 nor more than 10 years confinement in prison.
Yes, sir.
Knowing, understanding, and appreciating that, do you insist on pleading true to allegations 1 and 2 of this motion to revoke probation?
Yes, sir.
I find you are pleading true to allegations 1 and 2 voluntarily, knowingly, intelligently. You understand and appreciate the consequences of pleading true.
Yes.
So this was the crime of fraudulent use of
Identifying information. There were some items in a bag that was discovered.
They arrested you in this case. Let's see, you were in possession of a Texas DPS issued driver's license. I don't know if that was yours or not. A Texas DPS issued ID card. I don't know if that's yours or not. 2 passports, a Discover card, credit card, and a personal check with the identifying information of other people thereon. 6 pieces of identifying information were located amongst a backpack full of mail that did not belong to you. And so you were charged with fraudulent use or possession of identifying information. I'm looking at your criminal history. you were, in 2009, you were placed on probation for credit card or debit card abuse. What a similar event. And you were placed on probation and you didn't make it a year. You were revoked and sentenced to 10 months in the state jail, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then in December 2010, you were sentenced to 8 months in the state jail for committing forgery of a financial instrument in July of that year. After you had committed the credit card or debit card abuse crime, and after you were placed on probation in that first case, then you committed forgery. And let's see. In this present case, fraudulent use or possession of identifying information, which has been your crime of choice, apparently, is deceit and abuse of forgery, theft, misuse of other people's identification. You know how you know how much problem of a problem that becomes for the poor people who have their identification misused. It gets into the system and then it's a blemish and they have to deal with it a lot of times their whole life because it pops up and they're questioned about, well, it's showing up that your identification was misused. What they're the ones that have to pay the price. They're the ones that lose their credit rating. They're the ones that lose opportunities if they want to get a loan or get other credit cards. I mean, it's a mess forever for these victims. But this is your crime of choice. This was the third time you were dealt with, and we ironically gave you a third chance. And didn't take you long before you misused it. Immediately. All right. Give it your best shot.
Judge, the state had made us off for 5 years. My client declined that, and he wanted to go to you. And the biggest thing when we talked was his acceptance of responsibility. And he has accepted responsibility. Well, he has. He's admitting truth. I mean, he's not denying the allegations.
So wait, okay, that's great. What we don't want him to do is keep committing the same type of crime.
Right. And
How many times do you have to get punished?
right.
It's like you keep touching the hot stove.
Right.
Now you're not touching anymore. You're embracing the stove now.
Right. But I guess the reason why he's touching the stove, Judge, is your analogy is absolutely on point. We would think it's irrational to touch a hot stove, right? That's irrational. So now we got to get into how do we explain irrational behavior? And the way I'm explaining his irrational behavior is my client has suffered with dependency for most part of his adult life, particularly the drug.
Dependency of what?
That's what I'm saying. The particular drug that he had been dependent upon was methamphetamine. And Judge, as we all know, that meth can cause us to make irrational decisions. And
Wait, hold on. The first irrational decision is using it in the first place. Well, he wasn't on meth when he used it in the first place. He made a conscious choice.
well, that's true.
And you don't get hooked immediately.
That's true.
But you kept making the wrong choice just like you keep doing this. Come on.
Right. And
We all know it's wrong. We all know what can happen to you if you misuse it. It can become addictive. Everybody knows that. It's not like that's news to anyone.
right.
You make a choice. You've made choices that are consistently the wrong choices. And here's the problem. It hurts other people, not just you. Well, bad enough it hurts you, but you got all these other people victimized and they have to deal with the blemish on their credit and questions of their credit worthiness because of you. It's you poisoned the well.
And just what I was saying, is because of that meth dependency and addiction, it causes him to have had some financial issues. And like he just told you before, he didn't have transportation. He really didn't have any money. So that affected his ability to report and do the community service. And what the saying, Judge, is this: instead of locking him up and putting him in prison, what he's asking is for the court to let him get some help. And what I would think might work for him is like safety. And because ultimately, like you just said, touching the hot stove, right? Why is he touching the hot stove? The answer is the methamphetamine use, the lack of funds. I don't believe he has family support.
How long have you been knowing, how long have you been appreciating that you were dependent on drugs?
Yeah.
Well, a better part of 2 years.
What stopped you from going and getting help? 10 years. Well, how's that been working? You keep getting arrested and still leaving it close. What state?
It's just, he stood there all this about having a game plan. Apparently, the game plan was to get out of the mail and not anything else. But guilty, and the silently taken. If the man had not been in trouble before, I might have some sympathy. He's been on probation. He knows what's required. And every day until he got arrested, he had a choice each day. He was arrested on December 2nd. And so apparently since December 2nd, he's come up with this program because he try to convince you that the last connected to you is to sell. So I'm sorry that they have to like 5 years it's fair under circumstances. I'm not speaking.
Well, I guess what they found is that I guess they with them enough to be able to.
No, they never saw him.
Something of that, you never, you walked off the job on the first day.
So,
Anything else you want to answer?
so Judge giving you
Yeah, Mr. Adams, go ahead.
Judge is giving you the opportunity to speak last. You heard what Mr. Ham, representing the state, has said. Probation really doesn't really have much to say. So why don't you end in your final plea to the court for mercy and your final plea to the court to allow you to continue to be on probation? Because Judge is giving you that opportunity to speak last. So go ahead.
Yes, sir. Again, I'm sorry. I apologize. This hasn't been a plan that was just made up today. Again, I know I've done wrong. I am accountable for those. Again, I just want to do what's right and be there for my child and make a difference. I'll pay, I'll show up, whatever needs to be done. I just didn't have, last time it was getting out, I lost everything. And it was a whole.
No, you didn't. You had a child.
My child.
You had a child. What do you mean you lost everything?
As far
You had a
as
child to live for.
I do have a child that I love very, very.
To set an example for.
And this is not the way to do it.
Since she's been born, you've committed how many crimes? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. If nothing further, I'm going to find Mr. Keffer, you have pleaded true to allegations 1 and 2 in this motion to revoke probation voluntarily, knowingly, intelligently. There's sufficient, that is enough to grant this motion to revoke probation by a preponderance of the evidence or greater. And it is granted, and your probation is hereby revoked. Earlier, you pleaded guilty, in this case, voluntarily, knowingly, intelligently, to the underlying offense of fraudulent use or possession of identifying information or items. And there was enough evidence supporting your guilty plea from State's Exhibit 1 admitted at that time to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I found you guilty, sentenced you to 10 years in prison, but suspended that, placed you on probation. You have failed on probation by the violation of these terms in probation. And you immediately upon probation failed.
I apologize.
Your probation is revoked. You are hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 5 years. You will be given credit for all time you have served in accordance with this case, which it looks like 121 days you will be credited with. Mr. Ham.